I wanted to understand the universe, its secrets, its design. But the moment we went up there, everything changed.
It's my fault. I stretched the bounds of space, and they hurt.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Yes, we are.
Your planet is now marked for death.
An anomaly has entered Earth's atmosphere. We don't know what it is.
There's not enough time.
Your world stands at the edge of cosmic balance.
He wants our world. He'll have to go through us first.
Are we safe?
I don't know.
We will face this together as a family. It's our responsibility to protect them.
Welcome, my friends. My name is Antoine Phoenix. Peace and love to all my brothers and sisters out there. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, so that you know when I have a whole new video up. Tonight's video. And I was going to do this a couple weeks ago, but I did not find the right words to say what I want to say. This creator, and you know I'm bad with names, but he's going to be speaking shortly. He laid out the perfect argument that I wish I would have mulled over myself. But because he has a presence in that comic book, Marvel, DC movie genre, his words carry a lot of weight. But he got it correct or right with the rumor is Sue Storm is going to be the leader of the Fantastic Four. Now, personally, depending on how they do it, I don't mind. Yet, because the Fantastic Four, to be honest, they are not my favorite superhero team. I did like reading some of their stories. And from what I see from Reed, Sue, Johnny, and the Thing, I can assume some things are going to be missing in this movie because in the comic book, Johnny Storm is kind of an asshole. Not only is he a playboy, he's kind of inconsiderate. He does things that you know either guys or friends of your guy friends that will do some of the things that he does and would be like, man, he's an asshole. Okay? Yet, he's on the good side. I remember this one story, which I never read the whole thing. Dr. Doom invited the Fantastic Four to his wedding. And Johnny Storm hooked up, and I believe he definitely smashed Dr. Doom's wife. And how did it come up? I think his wife got scared and ended up telling him. But, I mean, she had balls anyway for cheating at him in the first place in his castle. In his castle. And that's the stuff that Johnny Storm would do here and there, messing with somebody's girl, or either something with a girl would be a situation. And I remember everybody's expression. I remember Sue Storm was like, okay, and I don't think any of the four, well, the 3 out of the 4 was surprised that this happened. And I'm pretty sure after that, it would never be no peace between Dr. Doom and the Fantastic Four. So I remember, and I'm not going to track down that clip. Is a clip where either it was an article of Johnny Storm saying he's not going, well, the actor that's playing him in this movie, he's not going to be a playboy. He's going to be considerate of people's feelings. I know quite a few creators was coming down on that. I think it's Yellow Flash and Magnus. They definitely rained on that parade. Supposedly, the thing also is a little bit softer. But once again, I have to see. I didn't see enough to see if the thing is not going to be the thing, because he definitely looks like the thing. As far as Johnny, I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe they let him mature. See, this is the thing that I wish actors would not do. Before a movie comes out, do not do, what's the name of the actress that was promoting Snow White? Zegler? Not Zegler. Whatever her name is. Keep your mouth shut. Unless if you're saying something positive, do not say nothing about the movie. Do not say nothing negative about the movie or the characters. The source material, do not, because you're going to piss somebody off. You're going to piss somebody off. And while that doesn't really piss me off with the Johnny Storm thing, yet saying it makes me think, oh, what are you going to be like, holier than thou, and always doing the right thing and being totally out of character of what you want, even though he doesn't have to be a total douchebag, but he should be the loose cannon of the group. With any group, it's always a loose cannon in there. Like with X-Men, it was always Wolverine. It's always good when somebody's a little bit of the loose cannon. Maybe the thing could be, but usually he's more of the enforcer, big brother type of guy. And Johnny would sometimes like playing jokes on the thing. I do think the original Fantastic Four got those two right. I did not really care for the actor that played the thing. I don't really care. I didn't care too much of how he portrayed the thing. I guess he did the best that he could, and obviously they did the best of trying to make him look how the thing was. But so getting back with Johnny Storm. So Johnny Storm, yeah, he's I have to just see. But I wish he didn't say anything. Really, this video is about Sue Storm being the leader. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to have this creator speak, and I'm going to react to certain key points in there.
No, they say save the drama for your mama, but we're not gonna. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Sue Storm, man. Okay, Sue Storm, the Fantastic Four movie. There is a report out there. There's a report out there that has many a nerd up in arms, angry, upset, confused. The rumor is that Sue Storm will be the leader of the Fantastic Four team. What? Are you mad about this, chat? Are you mad about this? Are you happy about this? Where's that one guy? Where's that one guy that's always in every comic shop that pops his head out of the corner and is like, well, actually, Sue's actually quite the capable character, and in a lot of ways has always been in charge in the heart of the team. Can't wait to see that finally adapted into the... And then we shove his face into the... So there's probably some of you that are down with this, and there's some of you that are really upset. So I want to explain this. I want to talk about it. Okay, so let's break it down, and I'll steel man both sides. We'll have a nice nuanced discussion.
I'm in the middle. Let me say, it depends how they do this.
Discussion about it. So when this rumor was first revealed, this was a long time ago, actually. This happened around the time of casting, and this is a good lesson for you because you should always be watching my content, always forever, because years ago we already talked about this. So if you really want to be in the know, like and subscribe and shut the fuck up and watch all my shit all the time. Years ago, when Marvel was casting for the Fantastic Four, we heard some pretty big high-profile names for Sue Storm specifically. And one of the reasons why, or that the scoopers were reporting as for why, was because Sue Storm was going to be the leader of the team. And in fact, they were doing chemistry reads for this dynamic.
Wait, really? That I didn't know. That I didn't know. I mean, I thought it was a good choice for Jessica Alba, but that's only because she's attractive and I think she played the part well.
And I remember even back then being like, what the fuck? And I was concerned, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'm still kind of concerned about it. I want to explain why. So, first of all, let's say a couple things about Sue. She's brilliant. She's crazy powerful. Literally, like, brilliant, crazy powerful. You know, I think she's at a very high intelligent level, man. She's like, probably in the top 90, maybe top 80th percentile of intellect within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, she's a scientist, she's smart. Yeah, she's really capable, really intelligent, incredibly powerful. Okay, and beyond that, of course, there are a lot of moments in comics where Sue sort of takes control. There's a point in comics in the Hickman John where she actually becomes the de facto leader of Atlantis, or at least a part of Atlantis, and literally like kind of cucks Namor a little bit. It's kind of crazy. And then of course there's the Malice stuff. There are many different times where Sue shows, you know, she's very capable. She's like, you know, she's got it going on. And of course, in the model of a family, in the model of a marriage, every husband in a happy marriage understands that it's really about the wife, right? Like, you've heard these things, like a happy wife, happy life, right? And so in a lot of ways, like, mom and wife is the leader of the family, okay, in a lot of different ways. And so I think it's absolutely fair that Sue would be very capable and hold the family together in a lot of different ways. She's very intelligent. She's very smart.
All right. And let me add right there. That is what I'm leaning to. I'm leaning to because I'm looking at the actress. Is her name Vanessa Kirby? Okay. I know her last name is Kirby. All the roles that she's played, the Hobbs and where that movie was with The Rock and Jason Statham in there, and she was in the Fast and Furious movies. She's an assertive woman. I already did a video about women that are assertive, pros and cons. Okay. I like to be balanced, so I can see how in the family dynamic with Reed being all into his calculations and being distracted, how she would, especially since they are a couple, they are together, how she would kind of be like, hey, I'm over here. Okay, pay me some attention. Or either I think we should do this. And maybe just to keep the peace, or maybe she does make a valid point. He may be like, okay, we will do that or something. So just because of the family dynamic, especially families these days, and even in the 90s, 80s, okay, I forget how the Fantastic Four was in 1963, which I'm pretty sure that character was written as real docile. Sue, real docile. And Reed was the calculated leader. But I do think, kind of like in the first two Fantastic Four movies, I think even though that movie doesn't get high praise, I think Reed is a little bit more along that line. Maybe he's a bit more confident, maybe more grounded, but still, I can see how the wife will one up him sometimes, or either, and that's why I would say Reed can still be the leader, but I can see how she will assert herself and say, hey, hon, we need to do this or that, because she doesn't look like she's a sit back type of woman. But anyway, and I'm talking about the actress that's playing her. And from the clips that I've seen, okay, if anything, it seems like Reed. Okay, I'm going to let him talk some more.
So I have no problems with Sue specifically being adapted in a way to reflect those qualities from the comics, and frankly, maybe more modern sensibilities. All that totally understandable, completely on par. I'm on that team. That's cool. Ticks on sale. Okay, cool. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let me finish the point here, okay? I'm in the middle. I'm flowing, Adam. I'm flowing. Okay, so I understand that, completely accept that. Here's the issue, though. There's really two problems here. And if you look, I'll be honest with you, like a lot of people that are mad about this, they probably just like whamming bad. Okay, they maybe can't even articulate why. And in some ways, I'm fucking up here a little bit because I'm going to give those people actual ammunition, actual arguments, actual things they can bring up to fight against their perceived enemies. But at the same time, I just got to do what I got to do. I got to break it down. Okay? It's more than just whamming bad. Here's a couple of things. Number one, Reed Richards is the most intelligent person in the Marvel Universe. Now, technically, Dr. Doom, Valeria Richards, who it's a fucking shame we don't have in this movie, but Dr. Doom, Valeria Richards, and Reed Richards are basically constantly in contention for the most intelligent person in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Reed Richards himself is so fucking intelligent that, like, cosmic beings come seek his wisdom. Do you know what I mean? So he's that guy. That's what he's known for. In fact, let's be real, the stretchy powers ain't shit, man. If he was your average Joe and he had stretchy powers, he'd probably have a promising porno career. He wouldn't be Reed Richards. Okay? Reed Richards is that fucking guy. Here's another thing that not a lot of people will bring up, and I believe this was really codified during the Brian Michael Bendis Fantastic Four run. I could be mixing up my runs here. Apologize. But here's the other side of this that's like really important. The Fantastic Four as a brand and entity is created by Reed Richards. Okay? And he doesn't create it on a whim. He doesn't create it without a plan. In fact, there's a very important reason why he creates it. The Fantastic Four itself only exists because of Reed's guilt. His guilt over the accident. His guilt over Ben being a rock monster. His guilt over Sue, having invisibility powers. His guilt that he fucked up his friends and his family. Okay? So he literally creates the Fantastic Four to give them a way by which this curse can be useful, that they can contribute. And on top of that, they're famous. That's also Reed. He designs it. He designs the entire thing. It is his brainchild, and it is because he feels guilty. Okay. So now you sort of have the steel man for both sides of this argument, why people feel the way that they feel. It's like this. At the end of the day, within the context of the F4 being created by Reed, and within the context of Reed being the most intelligent person in the universe, do I have a problem with Sue Storm asserting herself, being in charge of certain things, and being the ipso facto leader in certain situations? Absolutely not. But let me tell you where I draw the line. If Sue's the person that created the Fantastic Four, if attributes from Reed's character are just given to Sue without explanation, I'm going to have a big problem with that.
And let me add this right here. If they make Reed look like a fly on the wall, clueless, useless, makes him look like, why are you here type of stuff. And plus, if they throw in some man-bashing things in there, which I don't see Kirby doing that, because I see her interact with the actor. They seem like they have a good relationship, friendship. I don't think she would do him like that on screen. Of course, so she just reading lines, but I've done some acting, and sometimes they let you ad lib or do a scene organically to see how it will turn out. As long as they are not diminishing Reed Richards, and that's the thing that he covered that I totally forgot, is that yes, he's the most intelligent person in the Marvel universe, more intelligent than Tony Stark. Tony Stark is up there, but Reed Richards is on that other level. The same as Doom. I actually give Doom a little bit more of an edge just because he's prolific in magic as well. So I think he knows things a bit out of the realm of what Reed would know to a degree. But when it's straight up technology stuff, probably Reed would, because he's focused just on the cosmic side of the universe. He'll probably beat Doom in that, but I'm pretty sure if you put Reed in the magical realm, he would be lost. So I don't know. People are not going to agree with me with that, but I actually give Doom the edge. The only reason Reed usually wins is because, or he's labeled as definitely the smartest, is just because he's the hero, and of course Doom made that miscalculation that scarred his face in the comic book that Reed saw. But of course, though, that was in high school, and I do think not high school, college, when that happened in the comic book. And I think also that probably the thing that always gets in Doom's way anyway is his arrogance, which is usually a pitfall with most villains if you think about it. It's just that only because his knowledge seems to go into other subjects, I usually would give him a little bit of an edge over Reed. And probably only because his arrogance it does Doom in. Let him continue.
If Reed is meant to seem inadequate, if Reed is meant to seem not as intelligent, I'm going to have a problem with that. Okay?
I don't think they're going to do that.
What we can hope for as fans of the actual characters, right? We can hope that there's care given not just to Sue, but to Reed, because Reed is an incredibly important character, and frankly, one of the qualities, and this might seem fucked up to like modern audience, asexual, don't want no man kind of motherfuckers, but like, here's the reality of this. One of Sue's greatest attributes is the grace that she has for her husband. Oh, it feels so gross. Man, shut the fuck up. It's this. She understands that if you have a mind like Reed, the burden of that is your responsibility to try to fix these problems. It would be like having super intelligent AI and not using it to try to make the world a better place. You would be a fuck if you did that. So there's this beautiful moment in the Hickman Fantastic Four that lays this out in a way that I really, really enjoyed, where she's frustrated. He's distant. He's not around. And she is mad. And she gives him this really, really hard time.
Okay, let me interject here. And this is how I think the dynamic of their marriage would be. Reed, he feels responsible for the predicament that they are in. Being that supposedly the Fantastic Four supposed to be from the 616 universe, and now they're in some other universe. I'm assuming not only did that accident happen for them to have those powers, but also he trapped them in another universe that's not their own. Maybe he was never able to forgive himself for that. Probably he shrank from them to a certain degree, and he just started concentrating on his calculations in his technology. The wife feels ignored. I know this. Okay, and sometimes I was at fault too. That's why I always try. That's why I always say, if you have a woman, you got to give her attention. We got to give her attention. You got to talk to her. You can't just play with her just when you want to have fun time. You actually have to spend time with her. Okay, but getting back to the Fantastic Four, I kind of hope they explored that particular dynamic there, not the man bash, but to show the thing that sometimes what couples go through. And I'm not sure if they'll do that or not because there may not be enough time in the movie, but that would be a real family dynamic that does happen. And not that he was doing it on purpose, not like he went to the bar drinking, it's just that maybe he became consumed at trying to fix this problem. The same way when he was on that thing of trying to cure the thing. And by the way, Dr. Doom did fix the thing. So actually, though, I think Dr. Doom balanced it with that mistake that he made trying to go to Mephisto's realm to save his mom. Only comic book avocados will know this particular story. And of course, he made a miscalculation. His face got scarred, blah, blah, blah. But he was the one that had fixed the thing. Of course, so he fixed them for a reason, but Reed could not. In all his intelligence, he could not figure out how to reverse the process that had gave Bingram his powers and turned him to a rock monster. But anyway, let him continue because I like where he's going with this.
She like dumps a lot of stuff onto him, makes him feel super bad about all this sort of stuff, right? And then she separates. She thinks about it, and she comes back and she apologizes. And she explains that she's empathetic to what it must be like to be him. Now, while that's going on, what she doesn't know is that Reed is hanging out with a bunch of alternate versions of himself, which I've talked about this before, but it's such a brilliant thing that Hickman does because, you know, Reed is somewhat isolated by his intelligence. There's not a lot of people he can converse with, relate to. You know, he's awkward, you know, because he's operating at such a high level of intelligence. He doesn't care about a lot of the social concerns and niceties that other people do, and so that's read as awkward. And it's at a point where Reed's like finally with people that understand him, and it's versions of him, and they're solving all of the worlds and the universe and the multiverse's biggest problems, and that's exactly what you want to do if you're a man like Reed. He's living out a dream version of his reality. Here's the catch, though. All of those people, all of the other versions of Reed, have said no to the family. They have said that Sue and the kids, Ben and Johnny, do nothing but hold us back. And so this whole group of his peers have all made a decision to sacrifice family. And as Sue is getting mad about him because he's, you know, being pulled away from the family, trying to fix everything, and then she kind of comes around, Reed has a moment where he comes around as well. And Reed realizes, I'm not going to give up my family. In fact, I'm going to go try to solve these problems with my family. I'm not like them. Right? So it's just like there's this like a really I really love the family, the actual family dynamics of them. And as somebody that's married, as somebody that has a family, I totally understand it. You know, everybody has their own perspective, their own needs, the things they're thinking about. A lot of people have responsibility that weighs down on them. And at the end of the day, a marriage is about expressing your own needs, interests, desires, while then also being willing to sort of bend and acquiesce and try to make it so the best outcome is what is best for every member of the family, which comes with a lot of sacrifice, mostly on the parents, right? So there is a good way to do this. There's a bad way to do this, and I think it's fair that a lot of people are concerned about this. You know what I mean? And especially from what I haven't seen the Lilo and Stitch movie, but from what I understand, like they throw Ohana means family out the window at the end. And that feels a little bit like a more modern, like, hey, we don't, kind of thing. And some people really don't like that. They even feel like it's maybe borderline propaganda. The first family, Marvel's first family, very important character. The family structure here. This will be the first time that we're going to see Marvel Studios and, Disney or whatever, but, Marvel Studios give us like the family superhero on the biggest stage ever for the biggest brand in the world. So I don't think it's crazy for people to be a little concerned with how that situation is going to be handled. And I think there's reasons for, both sides of this argument to feel good, but also be concerned. And so those are some of my thoughts on the situation, the drama with Sue and Reed. And look, there's a way that they could do this where it would be like a big eye roll for me, and I will absolutely call it out. I will 100% call it out and call it cringe and say that it was a mistake. But what I'm hoping for is something that can handle both, can be nuanced, can be more like Hickman's FF. And I think Shackman gets it. Like Shackman brought up the Hickman stuff. I think he gets it. I think he understands that element. So hopefully it plays well in the actual movie. And until we see it in the actual movie, we don't know. Okay, so that's it. That's the Sue Storm drama and Fantastic Four.
Huh. Well, I tried. I tried to make this video only 20 minutes long. But I can't just, especially now, especially because I've become more comfortable talking and laying my thoughts out or disagreements with what someone is saying. But okay, before I trail off on that right there, I love the way that he phrased this because this is what I'm thinking along those lines right there. She can be the leader, but it has to make sense. And it cannot make Reed seem like a bitch. Okay? He cannot totally be cucked or something. If he's distracted and feeling guilty, I'm going by some of, if you saw that trailer in the very beginning. Well, of course you saw the trailer in the very beginning. And they was asking him, are we safe? And he's like, I don't know. Okay. I'm thinking that he feels responsible for a lot of things, and especially for the predicament that they are in now. And she's going to have to reel him back because he's being weighed down with the guilt. Now, if they can do that, if they can pit that across that he's guilty, he's distracted, he's trying to get them either back home or heal the thing, whatever he's trying to do, if they can make that somewhat the reason why she had to take the reins for a while, then that makes sense. And if it's a thing of, or maybe I'm thinking he has such guilt about everything that he gave her the leadership, that he was like, I don't think I'm fit to lead because I just messed up so much. If it's something like that and it makes sense without making him seem like he's a total waste of space, which I don't think they're going to do that because they show him writing calculations on a chalkboard. So I'm thinking they're not going to do that. But then again, though, I don't know because Disney be getting on that shit sometime. Okay, and that thing that he mentioned about Mulan, which I was going to take my daughter, but which I'm pretty sure is still a family movie, but I don't know why take the family thing out. What? See, there's so much going on in the world with the propaganda and stuff. And if women are wondering why men are freaking out over anything when they are changing a race or a woman, look, black people, yes, I'm black, but see, I actually laughed when they was going to make, or actually they did in the comic books, they made the Black Panther white. Okay, because how do you like it when they change one of your favorite characters to another culture or another gender? How do you feel when it affects you? This is the thing that I notice with a lot of people. As long as it doesn't affect them, then they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. I mean, I don't know why they can't seem to get the Fantastic Four right, but they can get the Incredibles right. This is all you have to do is follow the same formula as the Incredibles for the Fantastic Four. But getting back to this movie here, if they do it in those ways that he said with the Hickman thing, then I can see it happening. But if it's something like they're just going to shove it in, she just took over, she just running him or something, you can't really enjoy the movie because he's getting emasculated every other scene by his wife. Even though that can be realistic, but no men that follow these stories growing up is going to sit there and watch that movie. They may, but then they're going to tell other men. So Disney better be careful if they playing that game. Uh, I assume you learned your lesson, but I guess you didn't. Anyway, so that's it. If they do it right, hey Sue, run on up. I like Kirby as Miss Fantastic. I can see her running the show, but only in the way that he was saying it. And I believe more of a thing of if Reed is not seeing something or he's distracted or he goes down in battle or something, she has no problem taking over until he's back on his feet. That, I think, is the way to go. Give me a like and subscribe, and have a good night.